you can see the confluence of things working out, and it totally excludes nationalists. The same thing happened in the last realignment in the 1970s, where Jewish Democrats who were upset with the golem they created of basically going soft on crime through their new control over the judiciary, created urban conditions that were inhospitable. And Jews lived in urban areas forever, ever since they came to the U.S. So the tough on crime shit brought them over to the Republican Party. And the need to protect Israel became very real in 1973 when it nearly lost a war after a surprise attack by Egypt. So you have these confluence of groups coming into the Republican Party, and they're used to exclude the hardcore anti-communist kind of JQers of the day, the John Birch Society type old right. They're the losers. And they are balanced out of existence by this influx of Jewish former communists who were mugged by reality. That was what Irving Kristol, the founding neocon, said about that experience. We are Democrats who are mugged by reality. And Bookcats joke about that is they were literally mugged on a subway car by Lil Realite, right? and the other part of that faction is onboarding Southern Democrat conservatives out of the Democrat Party into the Republican Party, and stripping away their ethnic identity from them or their acknowledgement that they're white. That was a very slow process, but what people don't ever seem to contend with is the fact that all conservatives ended up in the Republican Party, and about half of the country's conservatives used to be Democrats. This is real. This isn't some DR3 bullshit, right? But where did all the ethnic awareness go? That was stripped off of them through that process. And who didn't continue to ride the river on the right? The old right, the anti-communist right, that had real reservations about supporting Israel and supporting Zionism. They disappeared. They disappeared. So we have to make sure we don't disappear going through the eye of the needle with these people. And Nick's real genius is to create a parallel institution, a parallel party. America First doesn't just have aspects of a think tank. It doesn't just have aspects of some kind of political interest group. It's basically like a fully formed and fully fleshed out cultural movement that has many at its own scale and its own level, and particularly in its own periodicity, right? At the level that it is a for-Zoomer, by-Zoomer movement that's 5 years old. It has these qualities that can kind of exist in parallel to a Republican Party, maybe one that's going to realign itself along the lines of national conservatism. They certainly seem to be the only focused group that has a chance of realigning the party, and then just shifting in like a blind pin. You guys know what a blind pin is? When you have to install something with roll pins, sometimes that finished mechanism that's sent to you will have blind pins, and they just are dummy pins. They sit in place and they just wait for you to push them out of place at the moment of final assembly with a roll pin that will fix the entire, new fixture together permanently. So, but there's time,
you gotta
right?
send an image of one of those in chat.
Gen X, the NatCons are Gen Xers. They're way late. They're in their mid-50s, and they're just starting to figure out how to exert their own political influence as a movement. They have, 25 years until they're Mitch McConnell's age? Peter Thiel is going to be older than Mitch McConnell when Savs Master is 10 years younger than Peter Thiel. You guys can do the math. Nick had that great Telegram post months ago. I've never forgotten it. He said, boomers have the watches, Zoomers have the time. So, but that's why we're a threat, and they ignore us, right? Nick has talked about this too, like the Judaic tradition of ignoring anything to its right, just starving it of publicity. And that's what they fear is publicity. That's why Kanye's a problem. It's that people can hear him. That's why censorship is a problem. Yoba made a great point about censorship being a uniquely Judaic form of Christian oppression, because this was the innovation of God bringing himself into instantiation on earth as God the Son to minister to us, is to communicate. Think of the depictions of Christ with the masses sitting, at his feet and learning from him. Yoba said it best, censorship harms us as Christians because proselytization and communication is a huge part of our spirit and our effectiveness.